What is up, Edison Duelists? This is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, coming at you guys today with some more shameless hypebeast Gigavise content. Now, today, at the suggestion of user Joey Wheeler, perhaps named after a character in an anime that maybe some of us have seen, has suggested that we show off some gameplay against the Fishborg Frog OTK, whatever you want to call it, the deck that seems to be solidifying itself as, in most people's mind, the number one deck of the format, with Gigavise as a second. I'm here to tell you that, flip those. Gigavise is the best. Frog OTK is the second best. So I have for you a pair of matches that I played against user 902 on the Dueling Book ladder. This guy is really grinding, is definitely a powerful duelist. So shout out to 902. Let's jump into the game. I hope you guys enjoy. 902 here has actually gone ahead and won the die roll, and he is just going to start off very simply with a dupe frog set MST. So we are going to draw for turn. Double Sark is always awkward, but we do have the double hidden armory, so we are at least going to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And now we are going to mill Lonefire Blossom off the hidden armory, and it's just such a shame because there's so many hands where milling Lonefire like that is going to be insanely powerful, and right here it just doesn't matter. So it is what it is. We are going to go ahead and search out our DDR, search out our supervise, and then we are going to get our Lonefire, equip the Gigaplant that it brought out with supervise, bring back Lonefire, go for copy plant. I feel like in this situation I really need to go for the power tool line because I have so few cards. This was such a resource intensive start to get my combo online, so I am really in a position where I need to take the high roll. I need to find that 2 out of 3. Of course I do. Say it with me, guys. 66.6% rounds up to 100. So we are going to give that supervise we got to our Gigaplant and bring out Titanial. We're then going to swing into his set. It is a dupe frog, so he'll get that swap frog. And then we are going to swing directly with Power Tool Dragon and directly again with Titanial. We'll banish a Miracle Fertilizer for later. I really like doing this. It feels so good to know you have that coming. If you draw into a hidden armory, if you draw into another equip spell, something like that, you're going to be in a really good position to crack back. Anyways, he is going to summon the Swap Frog, discarding the Fishborg Blaster, and send a Substitute, and then he is going to be able to salvage to get the Substitute back, and now he is able to have full combo here. He's got the Pot of Avarice. He is clearly going to be in a very good position. He is going to go for the Bryanak just as a synchro and then make a Colossal Fighter. This is going to let him clear the Titanial, and then Bryanak is going to help him clear the rest of the board. So this is just something to note for you guys. All of the outs to our board do require the battle phase, and usually they just require one specific monster attacking. So any kind of interaction that we'd had here, and we would have been able to protect our board. But unfortunately for us, it's just it's not going to happen today. We have no defense, so he is going to be able to very freely run that Colossal Fighter right into our Titanial, and then also kill the Power Tool Dragon to boot. And then main phase 2, he'll get a little dupe lock going. Well, not much of a dupe lock, but regardless, we are definitely going to lose that game. We are very behind. So game 2, we've drawn the DD Crow, which is always a welcome sight. We have Super Solar Nutrient, which is live with that Nettles we drew. So we are just going to go right ahead and start our combo. So we are going to Lonefire into Gigaplant, equip it with Supervise, bring back the Lonefire, and now here, first pop quiz of the video. What would you guys do here going into this situation? Do you go for the Power Tool Dragon? Do you go directly into Titanial? Do you perhaps make a Stardust Dragon? Take a second, think about what would you do in this situation. You have the benefit of being able to see our opponent's hand, so you can think about what is going to be the best in this scenario. I'll give you a few seconds, and then I'll show you what I did. And no surprise to anyone, I just went right for the Titanial. It's game 2, so we could expect that perhaps he does have a DD Crow coming prepared. And it's frogs, so that Titanial is going to be very, very strong. It's going to be very important for us to get up. And we do have the Trap Dust Shoot and the DD Crow to go with it, so we are definitely in a very good spot. We are going to be able to knock that Swap Frog out of his hand, keeping the Salvage dead, keeping the Moray of Greed dead, and he just has nothing. And just like that, he is going to let us go right to game 3. Now, obviously, things could have shaken out a little differently with all those Morays of Greed. We did have the DD Crow as well, so I do think even without the Dust Shoot, we were in a pretty good spot. But let's see how we handle game 3 in this match. So we are going to draw for turn. We have that Lonefire already. We are going to upstart. We see the Gold Sark. That is a welcome sight. And then we are just going to hit an armory for a supervise, milling the DDR. That always feels bad. We are now raring to go, set up for the future, and we are going to Gold Sark here. I'm going to think carefully about what to do. I actually decided to get the Giant Trunade. I'm expecting that he's going to have some sort of back row defense coming in that he sighted into. I also think that, maybe I could at least use it to extend my supervise or extend with a Miracle Fertilizer that I draw. So I'll be honest, folks, I think the Sark for Trunade here is a bit of a questionable decision. Let me know in the comments what you would have done, or if you would have done Trunade as well. Anyways, he is just going to draw and pass back to us, which we love to see, and we do draw that Fertilizer, which does make that Trunade feel just a little bit better. So we have a normal summon now, so we are going to normal summon Lonefire into Gigaplant, give it a supervise, and then we are going to Lonefire into a Titanial. And now we are going to swing into the sit. It is a dupe frog, of course, so he'll get his Swap Frog online. And then here we are going to recklessly, greedily swing right into Gores with our 2800 Titanial. Folks, I don't know what I was thinking here. I don't think there's any world where it's correct to swing here. We just don't have a strong enough hand to answer Gores. Book of Moon is not sufficient for that. And he's just going to be able to walk all over us now. So that was definitely a huge, huge mistake. However, he doesn't have the strongest hand. I'm not seeing Fishborg. I'm not seeing Substitoad yet. He's not going to be able to special summon that Swap Frog. So it's definitely not over for us, but man, is it not looking good. He's going to attack into the Gigaplant, and we will, of course, be able to bring it back, but that is not going to be much help when he then swings again over it with the token. So we still have Titanial, but Titanial is not going to be particularly helpful. He's going to go ahead and use Swap Frog here to send that Substitoad, getting that online for next turn, live with the salvage, and then he's going to Swap Frog to put the Gores back in his hand and use it for later. Folks, that is just absolutely devastating for us. So he's going to choose to use the salvage now in case we draw a DD Crow later, get that Substitoad in his hand, which is definitely going to be very useful for him. It's going to enable his combo, and then he's going to set 2 back row. Now, here we are going to draw into Super Solar Nutrient, which is not particularly live. We've already gone through 2 of our Lonefire Blossoms. We do get the Trunade, and hey, would you look at that, folks, he does have 2 sets. Now, speaking of questionable decisions, here I'm just going to choose to go directly into Swap Frog. I think I was thinking, well, it seems like he's weak, seems like he's not in the best position. If we could just get the Swap Frog off the field, that's going to put us in a little bit better of a spot. He'll have to normal summon the Substitoad and try and combo from there, and maybe we can live with our Book of Moon. And unfortunately for us, he does have the Raigeki break, so we're going to lose. Now, we could have fired the Giant Trunade, but he probably would have just chained Raigeki break, so we lose the Titanial anyways. So I think I was really, really looking for maybe one more turn, and then I could try and do something really greedy with like Super Solar Nutrient and Fertilizer, getting both of those off, and then bouncing them back with Trunade. Like I said, folks, definitely super, super greedy. I'm not sure if it was the correct play at all, and we are definitely getting punished for it here. So now we're going to main phase 2, and we are just in a whole heck of a lot of trouble. We're just going to pass. I'm just saying, all right, this looks bad. Maybe I can just live off of Book of Moon, and make it one more turn. He has the Raigeki break for that Book of Moon. There's nothing worth booking. He can just flip summon that Swap Frog and get it, actually send another water monster for free. And then we do have that 2800. So he is now going to be completely free to combo off. So he'll go Substitute, cycle through some frogs, thin out his deck really well, set up those pots of Avarice, fire the first pot of Avarice, shuffle 5 monsters back into his deck, and draw 2 cards. And he'll look at that. He drew into a Moray of Greed. So he really has everything. He really has the nuts. I'm just, clinging to a hope and a prayer that maybe he decides to make something suboptimal. But a player like 902 is just not going to make mistakes like that. So he's going to go ahead and run out 3 Death Frogs and attack in for game. And that is going to be the match. So as you can see, this Forg matchup is definitely something that can punish you if you make mistakes. If you're not playing optimally, you're going to lose. You need to be playing at your best, and that's really all there is to it. You saw in game 2, you can definitely blow them out with some strong openers, draw some powerful one-of cards. Titaniel does put in work against this deck, but you have to play smart. And I'm not afraid to admit I did not play smart whatsoever in that game. But fortunately, there's always another duel. When you lose, you just got to dust yourselves off and jump right back into it. And a couple days later, I ran into 902 again on ladder. Now, this time, we did win the die roll, so we are going to get to go first. We're going to fire a Gold Sarcophagus to banish a Lonefire Blossom. We do have a relatively weak hand, so here I am going to set Dandelion. I don't think it's usually correct to set Dandelion, but this is a circumstance where I think it is defensible. I know that he is going to be on a powerful deck. I don't want to get OTK'd. I don't want to just lose on the spot. I also want that Mark of the Rose to be live. That's going to be really good with Nettles to maybe, help me put up some kind of board presence, take apart his board a little bit on his turn, and then get me to live long enough until that supervise or that Lonefire Blossom comes into my hand. So we are going to set our Mirror Force. We are going to set our Dandelion. We are going to pass it back to him. He is going to draw Heavy Storm right off the top of the deck. So much for our Mirror Force. And then he is going to be able to special summon the Swap Frog, send a Substitute, salvage back the sub and the dupe. And now he is free to normal summon the Substitute and cycle through some frogs, thin out his deck a good amount. Unifrog not really going to help much there. And then he is going to get that Pot of Avarice live. So he will be able to see a few more cards in his deck. He draws Giant Trunade Dandelion. Definitely not super helpful cards in this case. Dandelion in hand, you really need a Fishborg in grave already. I think he really would have preferred that be any other water monster, making that Moray of Greed live. He is going to get a Death Frog to have a powerful attacker. Swing into our Dandelion. Substitute is going to knock out one of the other tokens, and then he is going to be able to tribute the Substitute or the Death Frog to bring out a Dupe Frog. So he has a soft lock up. Anytime I see the soft lock like this, my eyes kind of light up. I'm like, oh, all right, if we make a Black Rose, put that Dupe Frog in attack, we're going to be able to win. But unfortunately for us, that is not going to be the case here, as we just don't have any equip spells. We don't have quite enough gas. What we do have, however, is that Mark of the Rose, which is live because I set the Dandelion. So we're going to use that to steal his Substitute. We can't break the dupe lock, and go for a big game. So getting the Substitute off the field, he's going to need another salvage. He's going to need an Avarice or something to get it back. That is going to severely limit his combos. Meanwhile, we're going to be able to Synchro Summon into a Power Tool Dragon with those 3 monsters and get ourselves a guaranteed Supervise, which is going to pair ever so nicely with that Lonefire Blossom coming to our hand on our next turn. So we're going to pass it back to 902, and he does draw the Foolish Burial, which is going to enable him to get a Fishborg into the graveyard and make that Dandelion live. Unfortunately, without a Substitute, he doesn't really have a good way to convert that. So he's just going to normal summon the Dupe Frog and pass it back to us, which will allow us to hopefully go off. We do draw the DDR, which is just going to be a fantastic draw. That's about as good as it gets. And now we are going to get Lonefire to hand. And right here, this is his board. Take a second again, pop quiz number 2. pause the video, think about what line you would take. Think about, is there a line that can guarantee me a win? Is there a line that I need a specific role of the Power Tool Dragon for? What line are you taking here? Here, we'll show you what I get for the Power Tool Dragon. I think that's, of course, going to be first. We are going to reveal 2 Supervise and a Mark of the Rose, and we get a second Supervise. So here's all the resources you know you have. You have a normal summon, you have 2 Supervise, you have DDR, Nettles and Giga, and Lonefire in hand. He does have this dupe lock up. How are you going to out this and win the game this turn? What is the best line? So, I'm not sure this is the best line, because the line that I take is going to depend on a Power Tool Dragon roll. But let me show you what I did nevertheless. So we are going to fire the Supervise on our Gigaplant that we have summoned from Lonefire Blossom, and then summon out a second Power Tool Dragon. With this Power Tool Dragon, we are going to really be hoping to get the Mark of the Rose. That's just going to make it a lot easier. But I think we do have a line no matter what we get. We do get the Mark of the Rose, so hey, never punished. We will banish the Lonefire from our graveyard, and then give Gigaplant a Supervise, bring back the Copy Plant, and then Synchro Summon with all 3 of those for Mistworm, and then Supervise is going to bring back Gigaplant, and Mistworm will wipe the frogs off of the board. And then, just in case he has Gores or anything, we are going to DDR for a Lonefire for Titanial, but he just saves us the trouble and scoops it up. So we are going to go to Game 2. I always feel much better in Game 2 post-siding. I've really strongly considered maining DD Crow. I think depending on how the field looks in RBE TLA, which, let's be honest, 902 is probably going to win, that maining DD Crow might be a consideration. If there's a critical mass of this deck, of Gigavise, if there's enough people who are competent pilots, then we are definitely in trouble. Anyways, folks, he is going to start off with 1-for-1 pitching Fishborg Blaster into Substitute. He has 2 Pots of Avarice in hand. This is a very strong opening for this deck, especially because we are not able to have any interaction at this time. I am pretty happy with our hand. Hidden Armory is going to get us a Supervise, so we're going to have combo, if not immediately, on the next turn, and we do have a Threatening Roar to guarantee that we are going to be able to live that long. Looking at what he's drawing into, I'm definitely a little concerned about Raigeki Break. This is going to be a big problem for us. And interestingly enough, oh, sorry, I thought he was setting that. No, of course, he's going to fire the second Avarice and let us see what he will draw. He draws into some more traps. Sighting in Deep Prison, I think, is a really interesting tech against this deck. You know, as a Gigavise player, I kind of feel like Forgs has nothing real going on a lot of the time, so he is just going to pass on that soft dupe lock, which, as I've said before, definitely makes me feel pretty good. We're going to upstart into a DD Crow, which is just going to be fantastic to have an answer to that Fishborg Blaster. He didn't try and go off with it at all on turn 1, and now we're going to be able to stop it if he wants to try anything. So we are just going to simply set that Threatening Roar and pass. He does have the MST for it. That's all right. I would much rather he MST our Threatening Roar than MST perhaps a Supervise that we are trying to combo with, especially because I think he's going to have a considerable amount of trouble closing out the game because we have that DD Crow on the Fishborg Blaster. So we are feeling absolutely fantastic. He is just going to normal summon that Dupe Frog to go ahead and put up a dupe lock, and then he is going to wisely get that Substitute off the field, getting a Death Frog up. That way, if I'm able to maybe Mark of the Rose this defense position Dupe Frog, I can't just run into the attack position Dupe Frog for game. That is a really easy way to OTK. I think I showed off that in my Hero Frog video. You should definitely watch that if you haven't seen it already. But anyways, folks, we are going to fire the Lonefire Blossom into a second Lonefire, into a Gigaplant, and now we are going to face a Raigeki Break right away. I think, you know, he realizes that just letting this Gigaplant stick around is going to be no good. He knows I have the Supervise, but if he waits for me to equip the Supervise and he destroys the Gigaplant, Supervise will bring it back, and if he uses Raigeki Break on the supervise, I still have a Gigaplant, and he has no answer for it. So I think this play is just fine, very heads up and smart to consider, and it's also just going to force us to pass. We can't use that Hidden Armory with our normal summon already spent. He draws into Flip-Flop Frog, so that is definitely going to allow him to put up a some more of a threat, but I think he would prefer, wisely may I add, to have that Raigeki Break in the mix. So we are going to draw for turn, and we get just about the best draw you could ask for. We draw into Heavy Storm, which just really makes it a lot cleaner. It takes out some of the guesswork. And then we are going to hit an Armory for DDR, milling a Dandelion. I think he was a little upset that we got a powerful mill like that, but since we had that other Dandelion in the hand, it really didn't matter. The tokens are gonna be there anyways, and it's not going to be a big problem for us. So we are going to discard that Dandelion. As you can see, there's no room for the tokens, so it really doesn't matter that we are getting that very high roll. So we are going to use Gigaplant to bring back Lonefire Blossom and get Copy Plant. Copy Plant is going to copy Lonefire level 3, and then we are going to Synchro Summon for a Mistworm with the Death Frog as well as the token and the Copy Plant. And we are going to put that Duplock back in his hand as well as the Treeborn Frog, so he's not going to have any field presence for free. It seemed like he kind of is definitely bricked, so I'm never feeling super safe passing on a weak board that doesn't have any interaction like this, but this is putting a lot of pressure on. If he's not able to clear the Gigaplant, clear the Lonefire Blossom, then we have a pretty easy walk into a match win. And he does draw a Swap Frog, which is not the worst, but it's definitely not going to do a ton for him. He really needed something like a Substitute here, so regardless, he is going to go ahead and Swap Frog to send the Unifrog, put Swap back in his hand, and then he is going to be able to normal summon a Dupe Frog and then normal summon a Dupe Frog again because he has that second normal with Swap. So he's looks like he's able to potentially live, but we just rip the Mark of the Rose. We definitely had ways to out this Dupe Lock coming to mind immediately. I think just going ahead and saying Gigaplant, bring back Copy Plant, make Black Rose Dragon, and then when the Gigaplant comes back, normal summon something else and swing for game. That's a pretty clean way to do it, but Mark of the Rose is just going to make it even easier, even safer. We have a line through Gores now. We can just go ahead and make Black Rose Dragon, and we are going to just use its second effect to put the Treeborn Frog into attack position and steal the Dupe Frog, so we will be able to attack over both of those monsters for damage, not risking a Gores or a Battle Fader or anything, and that is going to be GG for us. So shout out to 902, definitely a powerful duelist. I run into him a lot on the ladder, and he beats me more than I beat him, but I think these two matches definitely show off how tight of a race, how skill dependent, how admittedly draw dependent this matchup can be. These are definitely the two kings of Edison format at this time, and I'm interested to see how both of these decks do at RBET LA this weekend. If you're going to RBET LA, let me know in the comments. If you're taking Gigavise, let me know. If you have some sort of secret tech strategy that you think is going to just blow out the competition, hey, don't keep it a secret. Let us know. Here in the Gigavise community, we are all about getting better together, and let's encourage that. Anyways, folks, this is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, who came at you guys with some more shameless Hypebeast Gigavise content. Please feel free to subscribe if you enjoy the channel, if you enjoy these commentaries. I post new videos every single day. If there's a matchup you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.